The Nevada desert stretched endlessly under the burning sun, a golden ocean of sand and sagebrush. In the distance, a herd of wild mustangs moved like shadows across the land. Dr. Sarah Collins, a 30-year-old veterinarian, adjusted the brim of her hat and scanned the horizon. She worked with a rescue organization that tracked and protected mustangs, and today she felt something was wrong. Riding in the truck with her were Marcus, a seasoned field assistant, and Jenna, a young intern. Reports had placed a stallion in this area yesterday, a proud dark bay with a white blaze. Now he was missing. As they drove past abandoned fences and crumbling sheds of an old ranch, Sarah spotted him near a dry stream bed. The stallion stood alone, his head low, sides trembling, one leg caught in rusted barbed wire. Blood streaked his coat, every desperate movement tightening the trap. His eyes blazed with pain and panic. "God," Jenna whispered, frozen. Sarah felt her stomach twist. She had seen wire injuries before. Most ended in death. "Don't get close," Marcus warned. "He's wild. He'll strike." But Sarah stepped forward anyway, speaking softly. The horse reared, hooves slamming the ground, blood flying from the wound. Marcus grabbed her arm, insisting they needed sedation. Sarah shook him off, refusing to back down. For a moment, the stallion's eyes locked with hers, wild against steady. She felt a promise ignite inside her. She would save him, no matter the risk. Sarah's pulse raced as she and the team circled cautiously, but the stallion fought like a storm. Every movement against the wire cut deeper, the metallic smell of blood mixing with desert dust. Marcus muttered, "We can't do this. He'll kill himself and maybe us." Jenna's hand shook as she tried to record notes, but Sarah snapped, "Put that down. Help me think." The stallion lunged sideways, crashing into sagebrush, nearly toppling. His nostrils flared, eyes burning with fear. Sarah knew they had only hours before infection or blood loss ended him. The debate grew tense. Marcus argued they should call for tranquilizers and wait, but Sarah knew the nearest unit was miles away, too far for the horse to survive. She grabbed rope from the truck, forming a crude barrier to guide his movement. "We box him in," she ordered. They spread wide, moving with slow, deliberate steps, trying to corner him without driving him mad. But the stallion exploded, thrashing, teeth bared, a primal scream tearing the desert silence. Jenna stumbled, nearly crushed as he bolted against the fence of bodies. Marcus yanked her clear, swearing. Sarah's heart pounded. One wrong step, and this horse would bleed to death or snap a leg. She dropped to her knees, lowering her posture to appear less threatening, whispering steady tones her father once used with frightened colts. "Easy, boy. You're not alone." The horse quivered, ears flicking back, sweat running off his neck. The fight hadn't left him, but exhaustion dulled his rage. He staggered, collapsing to one knee before surging up again, breathing ragged. Sarah felt the moment narrowing. If she didn't act soon, he was lost. She looked at Marcus, voice sharp with command. "Get the wire cutters, now!" Marcus shoved the cutters into Sarah's hand, his face pale. She stepped forward, every nerve screaming as the stallion tossed his head and lashed out. One kick could shatter bone, but she kept moving, crouched low, speaking in a calm rhythm. The wire bit deep into the horse's flesh, crimson staining the dry earth. He thrashed again, sparks of rage in his eyes, but his body was failing. Sarah edged closer, hand trembling, cutters ready. The stallion reared, hooves slicing the air inches from her skull. Marcus shouted, "Back off, you'll die out here." But she didn't move. Her eyes locked with the horse's, wild fury against desperate will. For a heartbeat, everything went still. The stallion froze, chest heaving, ears flicked forward. Sarah took the chance, dropped to her knees, and snapped the first strand of wire. The horse jolted, nearly toppling onto her, but she rolled aside and lunged back, cutting another coil. Blood poured, soaking her jeans, but she pressed on. With one final crunch, the last strand snapped free. The stallion collapsed, legs buckling, the desert swallowing the sound. Sarah scrambled back, chest burning, unsure if he was still alive. For long seconds he lay motionless. Then a tremor shook his body. He dragged in a rasping breath, eyes flicking open, still blazing but dimmed with exhaustion. The team rushed forward with bandages and water. Sarah pressed her hands to the wound, fighting to stem the bleeding. "Stay with me," she whispered, voice breaking. The stallion trembled, his head lowering into the dust, and for the first time since they found him, he didn't resist her touch. The stallion spent the night in the rescue trailer, sedated and wrapped in clean bandages. Sarah sat beside him, refusing to leave, listening to the ragged rhythm of his breathing. At dawn, he stirred, eyes flashing briefly with the same fire that had nearly killed her, but now softened by exhaustion. Days passed in the sanctuary. He fought every hand that approached, lashing out at the fences, but Sarah returned each morning, calm voice and steady presence, slowly chipping away at his fear. She fed him hay, cleaned his wounds, whispered stories from her childhood. Marcus shook his head, saying the horse would never trust anyone, but Sarah never wavered. Weeks later, under a blazing Nevada sky, the stallion finally stood tall on 4 strong legs. His coat gleamed again, scar running down his leg like a mark of survival. Sarah led him to the open gate of the corral where the wild herd grazed on the horizon. She unclipped the rope, stepping back. For a long moment he stood still, eyes fixed on her, muscles taut with decision. Then he surged forward, galloping into the desert, mane streaming like fire in the wind. The herd lifted their heads and welcomed him back, and soon he disappeared among them, free once more. Sarah felt tears burn her eyes. Jenna whispered, "You saved him?" Sarah shook her head softly. "No, I just gave him the chance to save himself." Behind her, the desert stretched wide and silent, the scarred Mustang's hoofbeats fading into eternity, leaving a promise that wild spirits should always run free.